There, I'm at the local park today in search of ancient armor-clad travelers, the ones that we sometimes see roaming our backyards, ponds, and even roads. Turtles have been around for over 200 million years, outlasting dinosaurs and adapting to a changing world. They are the most ancient of all living reptiles and the only one with a shell. These slow-moving yet incredibly resilient reptiles play a vital role in North America's ecosystem. Stick around as we uncover the secrets of these amazing creatures and dig into the simple, impactful ways you can make your yard turtle-friendly. First up, what is a turtle? How did it come to be? Are they dangerous? Do they taste like chicken? What are they good for? Well, we'll get to all that. But first, did you know North America is home to more than 50 species of turtles? Our local turtles generally fall into three main categories. Freshwater turtles, who live in ponds, lakes, and slow-moving rivers. Terrestrial turtles, which prefer to roam woodlands and fields. And then there are sea turtles that cruise the coastal waters. Each type has a unique adaptation for survival, from webbed feet for swimming to domed shells for protection on land. If you've ever come across a turtle in the wild here in the States, it was probably one of these common species: painted turtle, snapping turtle, box turtle, or red-eared slider. Painted turtles are one of the most widespread turtles in North America, and the most colorful, known for its bright red and yellow markings. They are aquatic, meaning they spend their days in or near water. Snapping turtles. These prehistoric-looking reptiles pack a powerful bite, and most species prefer to stay in murky waters. The box turtle, a land-dwelling subgroup with a high domed shell, and probably the most likely to wind up in your yard. Red-eared slider. Often found in ponds and lakes, this species is also popular as a pet, but has become an invasive problem in some areas. Turtles may seem simple, but their anatomy is anything but. Their shells are actually part of their skeleton, made up of 60 joined bones, including their rib cage and their spine. Shells are composed of an upper part called the carapace and a lower part called the plastron. This is a turtle shell that I've had since I can't remember when. My dad found it in the woods when I was younger. This part is actually missing a section. We're missing the section that would close up here. This is of an eastern box turtle. And you can see the wear and tear on it, and there's a little hole here. These here are the scutes that would normally be covering the whole thing. This part is bone, like our bones, but this part here is the same thing as our fingernails, the keratin. The bottom and the top are connected by little pieces of bone called bridges, and this would hold on here, and then the turtle would also have another little section that would close up here. When you look inside, you can see the spine and the little rib cage. And no, turtles cannot crawl out of their shells like in cartoons. Adults of modern species range in carapace length from about 70 millimeters, 2.75 inches, to 1.9 meters, about 7 feet. The leatherback sea turtle, Dromedales coriacea, is the largest living turtle and reptile by weight. They can weigh up to 2,000 pounds and grow to be over 6 feet long. Turtles with feet, which are elephant-like, are terrestrial-based, while those with webbed feet are usually found in aquatic habitats, and others with modified feet, which we call flippers, live in the open seas. In modern-day turtles, their jaws lack teeth, but tend to be covered by a horny beak for gripping and slicing. Something to note before we move on: because these creatures are so different from other reptiles, some cytomatists, which are scientists classifying animals, advocate to group these creatures in their own class, Chelonia. But for now, you'll find them categorized within the class Reptilia. The main differences between a turtle and a tortoise are shell. Tortoises have domed shells, while most turtles have flat shells. Feet. Most turtles have webbed feet or flippers and spend most of their time in the water, while tortoises have elephant-like feet with thick legs and cannot swim. Food. Tortoises are herbivores. They only eat plants. Most turtles are omnivores, but some are carnivores. Their life cycle starts when the female chooses to lay eggs in sandy or soft soil. Notice I said chooses. Some female turtles are capable of storing sperm, sometimes for years. This is done because of their solitary lifestyle and the limited chance to meet a mate. Mating can't always be timed to the right season. So, after the female chooses to lay eggs, and after incubating for anywhere from 30 to 90 days, depending on species, tiny hatchlings emerge and instinctively head toward water or shelter, again, depending on their species. In Maryland, Virginia, and North Carolina, this usually takes place in late summer or fall. The young of several species may overwinter in the nest and emerge early in the following spring. Hatchlings that survive can live for decades, some species over 100 years. In fact, the eastern box turtle, Terrapin carolina, is the longest living turtle in North America. And yes, they can live over 100 years in the wild. Turtles are slow, but surprisingly tough. As previously mentioned, many are omnivores, eating a mix of plant, insects, fish, and even carrion. Their role in the ecosystem is vital, helping to keep aquatic environments clean by scavenging dead matter and controlling populations of insects and small fish. On the flip side, turtles are not on top of the food chain. In fact, many humans eat turtles, not me particularly. The diamondback terrapin was nearly wiped out in the late 19th and early 20th centuries as demand for its meat soared, driving world populations to dangerously low levels. However, the Great Depression caused the pricey terrapin soup dish to fall out of favor, ultimately sparing these species and eventually leading to protective measures. As to whether they taste like chicken, well, many often compared it to a mix of chicken, veal, and seafood. When it comes to non-human predators, turtles over time have developed defenses against being eaten. Box turtles are one of just a few turtles that can fully close their hinged shells for protection, though that does very little to ward off large predators such as a coyote. Snapping turtles, on the other hand, rely on their powerful jaws and aggressive posture to ward off threats. Warning: all turtles bite. Yes, I found this out the hard way. And I still to this day blame my brother. Long story short, we were catching turtles at a neighbor's pond, catch, admire, release style, when he said, "Here, hold this." My 7 or 8-year-old self did as my big brother said and held this cute little turtle. But not 1 minute later, that little devil of a red-eared slider stuck its, what seemed at the time, an excessively long neck out and clamped onto my midsection, trying to give me a second belly button. Lesson learned. When handling a turtle, ensure that the head is facing away from you. So yes, all turtles are capable of biting. But no, they are not all created equal. A snapping turtle bite is fast, powerful, and way more painful than a slider's. Their bite has a force of 200 to 1,000 psi. That's pounds per square inch. Strong enough to tear flesh and even break small bones. While not venomous, their bite can cause serious injury, so be warned. Now, the odds of spotting one of these turtles, or any turtle for that matter, in your yard depend on several factors, including your location, nearby habitat, your yard's habitat, and the time of year. If you live near a forest, wetland, or body of water, the chances increase significantly, especially during the warmer months when turtles are most active. And don't think that just because you have a fence you won't have turtles, as some have surprisingly good climbing skills. Turtles on the move are in search of food, mates, or nesting sites, with females often traveling far to lay eggs in sunny, well-drained soil. Common species you might spot in your yard include the common box turtle, common snapping turtle, or if you live within walking distance to a pond, you could see painted turtles, red-eared sliders, or eastern mud turtles. Visit your state's wildlife department website to find out which turtles are most common in your area. While box turtles live mostly on land, aquatic species like the river cooter and common mud turtle spend most of their time in water, but do travel for food or nesting. Home ranges vary. Box turtles tend to stay within a few acres, while snapping turtles may roam dozens of acres. Some turtles venture over a mile from water, turning up in very unexpected places. What about winter? Well, many turtles brumate, a reptilian version of hibernation, by burrowing in mud at the bottom of ponds, finding shelter under logs and leaf litter, or burrowing up to 2 feet into the ground, such as some box turtles do. Fun fact, some turtles, such as the eastern painted turtle, can lie buried in cold water for months on end due to their ability to breathe out of their butts. Talk about speaking out of your rear. Since turtles are cold-blooded, meaning their body temperature is affected by their environment, brumating helps them survive the winter. Unlike hibernation, turtles aren't actually sleeping during brumation, but rather they become sluggish. Their metabolism slows and they enter a state of torpor, or mental inactivity. They can survive without food and very little oxygen for several months in this state. Isn't that amazing? Turtles are an essential part of our ecosystem. They eat sponges and protect coral reefs. They prevent periwinkle snails from overpowering our salt marshes, and even construct elaborate burrows that shelter over 300 other species, from armadillos to endangered frogs. Thanks, gopher tortoises. Oh, and there's only one turtle that is known to disperse the seeds of mayapple, the eastern box turtle. Chemicals found in this common woodland plant are used to cure cancers and many other diseases. Turtles do a lot for our world, but there are many turtle species that are dangerously declining or already extinct. But the good news is you can help. Look where you're mowing. Keep cats indoors. They are an invasive species, you know. Don't let your dog use one as a chew toy. It's sad, but it happens. And avoid pesticides. It kills their food source. Also, don't kidnap wild turtles. On the other hand, never release pet turtles. So what should you do if you find a turtle in your backyard or crossing the road? Well, if it's in your yard, it's probably just passing through. Let it be, and make sure your pet can't get to it. If it's on the road, safely move it in the direction it was heading. Never relocate it far away. If it is injured, contact a wildlife rehabilitator for help. Never take a wildlife turtle as a pet. Many species are declining due to habitat loss and the pet trade. That includes little ones kidnapping them. Moving at a speed measured in feet per hour, turtles are vulnerable to getting hit by cars, injured by lawn equipment, attacked by domestic animals, and picked up by the occasional human. And that's something important to remember. Don't pick up a slow-moving turtle, even though you think you might be helping it. Many turtle species can't be relocated. They spend their entire lives in one small area, and if moved, they will spend the rest of their life trying to get home. That means crossing through unfamiliar territory and often dying in the process. Turtles have small home territories and should be left where they're found. Their survival depends on it, but do help them cross the road. After learning how fascinating and essential our little shelled friends are, why not make your yard more turtle friendly? It's easier than you think. Here are some simple ways to welcome these slow-going, shell-wearing friends into your space. First off, Water is a big deal for turtles, even if they're not aquatic. If you can, add a little pond or water feature, but make sure it's at ground level with a nice gradual edge so they can wade in and out easily. No steep drop-offs. Turtles aren't exactly built for mountain climbing. Turtles need good hiding spots. Think logs, leaf piles, branch piles, grasses, and native shrubs. They love having places to tuck themselves away and feel safe. Oh, and remember, if you're using pesticides, ditch them. Those chemicals aren't just bad for turtles, they mess with their food sources too. Now, if you want your yard to become a popular turtle stop, you'll need to incorporate some local greenery. Things like wild strawberry, common blue violet, May apple, high bush blueberry, and black elderberry are awesome because they produce berries and flowers that turtles, especially eastern box turtles, love. You can also mix in non-traditional natives like pokeweed, arrowhead, cattail, and spikerush. Just be sure and double check what's native in your area. With a sprinkle of tweaks, you can whip up a delightful turtle paradise right in your garden. After all, who wouldn't love to see a cheerful little turtle wandering about? Turtles may be slow, but their skills are nothing short of incredible. These ancient reptiles play a crucial role in our ecosystems, and it's up to us to respect and protect them. Perhaps even utilizing our yards to roll out the welcome mat and offering a slug or two for lunch. On that note, remember, the more we know, the better we grow. So stay curious and head to DIYnature.org to learn more about how to turn your yard into a living, breathing ecosystem with native plants and bold ideas. Thanks for watching this episode of Natureologies, and happy gardening.